What's up guys, welcome back to the Utah Airguns channel. I'm Sawyer and today we're going to start a new series of videos called Airguns 101. One of the reasons that we're going to be doing this series is, well, there's a couple reasons. One, we have a lot of calls and a lot of people coming in saying they want airsoft guns. So we're going to talk about the differences between air rifles, air guns, and airsoft guns. And two, because I started getting into kind of a new hobby. I wanted to learn how to do like ham radios and stuff. And that is something I know absolutely nothing about. So when I go on looking for information on YouTube and Google, and I see a video where someone just dives right in, starts getting complicated and high tech, I immediately click out of the video and look for one that's a lot more my level. So we're going to start this series by doing exactly that. This is going to be super basic. We're going to cover everything that is really cool about air guns, all of the things that you can do with air guns, what differentiates air guns from firearms and airsoft guns. We're going to talk competition, we're going to talk hunting, we're going to talk recreation. So let's jump right in, starting off with the airsoft dilemma. So the main differences between airsoft guns and air rifles is you can shoot people with airsoft guns. You do not want to do that with an air rifle. Airsoft guns often have an orange tip to let you know that it is not a lethal weapon. They fire plastic, very light BBs, but they sting, so you know when you get hit, but they won't kill you. They are really fun to shoot. They're often more powered by either battery and a small spring-powered piston that reciprocates fast, because you obviously don't need a ton of air pressure to push a 6-gram BB, and they don't shoot very fast. They're, I think, most like airsoft arenas restrict their FPS to around 400 FPS. So, you know, it'll sting, it'll leave welts, but it's not going to penetrate the skin if it hits bare skin. There are some airsoft guns that use pressurized air sources. Most of the time it's CO2, some nitro, some high pressure air, but that's mostly for volume. That air is obviously regulated way down to shoot those BBs much slower than you would an air rifle. With air rifles, you are using much higher pressure air and shooting a much heavier, more lethal projectile, depending on the caliber and what you're doing with it. But for the most part, all pellets tend to like to fly around 850 to 920 FPS. That's kind of the sweet spot for accuracy. But there is more than enough energy to penetrate tissue, and they can be lethal. So you do not shoot people with air rifles. Definitely don't go out and have a little battle with your friends with a real air rifle, because it will hurt. One of you will go to jail and one of you will go to the hospital. So don't want to do that. So because air rifles pack a lot more energy, you can hunt with them. You can hunt pretty much anything in the world with an air rifle, but you definitely need to abide by your local and state laws. So you can start with a 177 hunting mice. We've done videos where we go out and, you know, there's fields just covered in mice at night and shoot them with thermals. You've probably seen the guys in the UK, they go to barns and stuff and they shoot tons of rats at night, and you don't need a ton of energy to shoot rodents. Go up to a 22 cal slugger, shoot starlings, shoot pigeons, you can shoot prairie dogs. Then you can get up into, you know, the big 30, 35 cals, and we've been down to Texas. We've shot pigs with them. There's people that have shot elk and deer with them, and again, check with your local laws, make sure you're abiding within those, because you don't want to get in trouble with the law. That always sucks. But and then you can get even up into the 72 cal, the 50 cals and the 72 cal, you know, the Zeus. And people have gone to Africa, they've taken like Cape buffalo, really, really big game animals. You can get massive amounts of energy on target with those air rifles. So you can absolutely hunt with air rifles. They are extremely accurate, and oftentimes they kind of open up new hunting permissions and new areas that you can hunt because it's an air rifle. One of the unique features to air rifles is pellets, and because of that skirt and the way they fly ballistically, they lose their energy fast, which makes them much more safe and useful to shoot like in barns and rural areas where you wouldn't be able to fire like a rim fire or a center fire, because that pellet will fly and lose its energy and basically become harmless. But that is not a reason to justify being unsafe with your background of your shot. You should always know the background of your shot. But pellet guns are uniquely capable of different kinds of hunting situations that you wouldn't otherwise be able to hunt in with a centerfire. So here is a 72 cal slug. This is a 500 grain slug, and then there is your 177 10 grain pellet. So that is kind of the extreme ends of the spectrum of projectiles that you can fire out of air rifles. When you graduate from kind of the Amazon and Walmart air rifles, the Springers, the cheap ones, you can get into the really high-end stuff. And this opens up a lot of possibilities for the accessories and the stuff that you can run on air rifles, like high-end optics, bipods. You have full-length ARCAs. This is my FX Dynamic. This is my competition rig, and this is probably my favorite air rifle to shoot because it's a precision rifle. Once you get into the high end, you can use basically anything you want on them. This is not an air rifle scope. You don't have to have a specific air rifle scope. This is an Element Theos. This is a precision rifle scope. This has all the features of any Night Force, Schmidt & Bender, you know, Tangent Theta, all the high-end stuff. You can put any of those scopes on here. And it doesn't have to be a crazy high-end rifle like this to put a nice scope on. When you get into the pre-charged pneumatic air rifles, you can put whatever scope you want on them because there is no recoil, there is no vibrations that are going to damage those high-end scopes. One of the things that I've seen kind of intimidates people when they get into the higher end air guns or just the pre-charged pneumatics, not necessarily high-end air guns, is the air source. So that is what is fueling your rifle. It's the gunpowder for your air rifle. So you can get a hand pump, which generally works with the smaller tanked air guns because it's going to take some physical effort to get that high pressure into your gun. You're going to have to pump for a while depending on the tank. Once you get out of a hand pump, you can move up to an air compressor. And no, you can't use your Harbor Freight or your Home Depot, just regular air compressor for pumping up tires. The air pressure in these air guns is very high, upwards of 4,500 PSI. So you need a special air compressor that can get to that pressure. So after air compressors, you move up to the big air tanks, and they are called SCBA tanks, not scuba tanks. So I won't get those mixed up so you nerds won't pull your hair out. Yeah, the SCBA tanks are carbon fiber wrapped aluminum tanks that can handle pressures upwards of 4,500 PSI. And those can fill a gun like this multiple times. So if I had my regular 9-liter tank, it would fill this gun completely full, probably almost 10 times. And it is super nice because compared to an air compressor, depending on the compressor, obviously, the tank will fill this gun in 5 seconds. Like you plug it in, open it up, watch your gauge, goes right up, unplug it, you're done. Fills it very fast. Most smaller air compressors that you plug into the gun will take 5 to 8 minutes, depending on, you know, your environment and tank size and stuff. So that is why I prefer the bigger tanks to fill the gun, just a lot faster, but you do have to be aware of how much you're going to be shooting and just be prepared to run out of air because you can run those out of air kind of quickly depending on what you're doing. So we like to bring multiple tanks. Yeah, the scuba tank is the scuba tank is my preferred method, but it is not the only method. So guys, that kind of wraps up the first episode of our Airguns 101. So we want to ask you guys a few questions, give us a little help in the comments. If you are completely new to airguns, drop in the comments what you want to see in this video series. But if you're seasoned, when you started out, what videos did you think were missing? What would you have liked to have seen on our channel, and what do you think would help new air gunners starting out? More to come in this series. We're gonna obviously talk about competition. We're gonna take a deep dive into hunting. We're gonna talk a lot more about all things you can do with air guns. But guys, don't forget to drop those comments, give us some good suggestions, subscribe, share the videos, and we will see you on the next one.